Okay, today on the show, my guest is Cindy Raney from the Cindy Raney team in Westport, Connecticut, with Coldwell Banker. But let me tell you more about Cindy. Now, Cindy Raney is a highly accomplished real estate professional, having sold over $500 million in residential real estate and earning Coldwell Banker's top honor, the International Society of Excellence. With a deep commitment to her clients, Cindy specializes in luxury properties, relocations, vacation homes, and investment properties all across Fairfield County and even other parts of Connecticut. She leads a talented team that provides exceptional service through strategic marketing, social media, and home staging. Cindy's passion extends beyond real estate with active involvement in local nonprofits and education. As a longtime resident and proud mother of five, I always love that they say if you want to get something done, give it to a busy mother.
That's right.
And in addition to being a busy mother of five and a top 1% producer and somebody who volunteers in nonprofits, Cindy's dedication to her community and profession is unmatched. I would love everybody to go check out Cindy specifically on Instagram, Cindy Raney, AND team. So Cindy Raney and team, and spelled out. We'll have a link to that in the show notes. And I also want you to check out her website, cindyraney.com. It's a beautiful website if you're looking for inspiration of maybe a website that you would want as an agent yourself. I believe this was built by Luxury Presence, and they're a
Yes.
great company, so check them out. Cindy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am happy to be here.
Well, I just spilled all over myself, but the audience probably won't see that unless they're watching. But that is the kind of morning I've been having. So I am grateful, though, that you are making time for us because you don't have time for us, and you've made it. And am super excited to chat with you. I really want to, before we get into sort of what you're doing now, I want to sort of
Mhm.
start at the beginning because people love to hear how you got to where you are. So tell us
Mhm.
about, like, why did you get into real estate and when?
Okay, I got into real estate in 2004, and I know that because my son is almost 21, and I was pregnant with Connor when I took my real estate test. I had been working in New York City at Merrill Lynch. I'd gone through their training program. I got my certified financial planner designation. We decided to move to the suburbs in, 2001. And at that point, I knew I didn't want to continue to commute to the city. So my mom had always been in real estate. So, of course, having a mom in real estate, I felt like I already knew half the job. And so it's sort of just a natural fit, taking the skills that I learned at Merrill Lynch and using them for sales in real estate.
Yeah, let's talk about Merrill Lynch because I'm a huge fan of some of the discipline that sort of comes from the top down in the training for financial advisors or everyone else that works at Merrill Lynch. I believe originally Merrill Lynch was founded by guys in the military, or it has a very sort of disciplined approach to the way they communicate with clients, which I think absolutely transfers over. I remember a million years ago, I used to work at Morgan Stanley, so very
Oh, wow.
similar kind
Okay.
of firm.
Yeah.
And we actually borrowed techniques from Merrill Lynch that were really effective. So they would always say with your clients, and again, this is financial advising, not being a realtor, but it's probably a similar idea, is you want your clients to hear from you. They would call it a 12-4-1. So they would say, like, every month they should get something from you. Maybe it's a mailer or email, whatever. Then it was 4 times a year you're calling and just kind of giving them an update on their investments or
Right.
whatever. And then once a year is a sit down, which I always thought was like, it's pretty simple, but like, what a great idea. So I'm curious if anything that you learned over at Merrill Lynch really transferred over to becoming a real estate agent.
I think it did. And I think that that is one of the keys to my initial success. I mean, I'm super competitive by nature to start, but coming out of the city, moving back home, I'm from, Connecticut, it was a natural fit. And then using the skills that I learned there, I mean, it really helped me sort of, from the beginning, have a business plan and structure my business with purpose and have a way to communicate with people. It was great.
And did you find that moving back home, obviously you have family that's in the business. Was it challenging to have people start to look at you in a different way, maybe seeing you as the financial person and now having to see you, in a new light?
It was so long ago. I haven't even really thought about that. But yes, I think anytime you transition from one sort of job to another, or one situation to another, you're recreating yourself and you're putting yourself out there in a different way. I think today with social media the way it is, I think it like if you roll out a new profession, I mean it's really out there in lights. But I think at that time you just sort of start spreading the word, and it didn't feel difficult. Plus my mom was a realtor, so sort
Right.
of it felt natural. I didn't work with her. I wanted to do it on my own, but I had her support, you know, in the early days for sure.
Yeah, and you have really, you've sold over 500 million in sales. A lot of that luxury properties. Of course, the
Hmm.
area that you're in has a lot of luxury properties for sale. It's kind of known for that. A lot of New Yorkers and just people out east kind of will maybe migrate away from the city
Hmm.
over into Connecticut, and then maybe train it in or bus it in or drive it in. But I'm curious, how was it challenging to break into the luxury market? Because it's a very sought after market. It's very highly competitive. Everybody wants to be in luxury. So,
Hmm.
tell me about that process.
It is hard to break into luxury, and even, now it doesn't feel so difficult, but in the beginning, you really have to make sure you are the absolute expert in the area you want to work in. So, for instance, in Fairfield, Connecticut, there's this one street, Sasko Hill Road, and I got my very first listing there probably 6 years ago. And it was interesting, and then I really used that and made sure I learned every single person who lived on the street. I knew, price per square foot on the water side versus the non-water side. And then it turned into, four other listings over the past 3 years. In fact, that's where I'm running after this. I have a beautiful listing at 640 Sasko Hill Road, and we have a third showing. So that would be amazing. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just you really have to be the expert, and you have to be really dedicated to your clients and putting their priorities, making their priorities your own, really.
I was talking to a top producer here in Chicago, individual agent who's been in the business about as long as you have, maybe a few years longer, who also does a lot of luxury. And she was saying people often think that luxury is this great solution to whatever realtor problems they may be having, maybe lack of production, getting more clients, and they're like, "Ooh, if I just had more luxury deals." And my friend who has done more than half a billion in sales as well has said, I'm still up against other realtors in almost every listing presentation. If it's a referral, then maybe
Oh
not.
yeah.
But she's like, almost always, these are people that are doing their due diligence. They are talking to a few different agents. So she's like, I still have to eat everything I kill. Like
Oh
I have
yeah.
to kill everything I eat, I guess is the better way to say it. So I'm curious, is that's got to be a highly competitive space for you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I would say most people will interview at least two or three agents. I mean, we do have a lot of people that are repeat clients, or come to us like a strong referral from somebody, and then they're
Sure.
not interviewing. But I take my business very seriously, and part of what helps keep us really on track is I strongly believe in coaching. I mean, hands down, coaching is like one of the number one things that's really helped me, especially the last 5 years, grow tremendously. But I have a speaking coach. I mean, all we do is talk to people. So,
Wow. So you
oh
don't just
yeah.
have a realtor coach, you have a
Mm-mm.
speaking, you have multiple coaches?
Yes, I do. I have, my overall business coach, and then I have a separate speaking coach, because I mean, 4 or 5 years ago, I would not have wanted to get on a stage or get on a podcast. Or, I mean, if you could see my initial videos on Instagram, or the first time I tried to make a video for my website, I couldn't do it. I mean, it was so
Yeah.
hard, and I was so stiff. I mean, it was like, the way I was talking, it just wasn't natural. And yeah, so I need, and then like personally, I have a yoga coach. It's like I'm coached
Yeah.
everywhere so that I can be, I mean, we're all running around like crazy. You need some like
Yeah,
normalcy.
you almost need, like, we all need a bit of a council around us, right? Like, I
Full
have
time.
council of elders or something. I've got, so same thing. I've got, well, I don't have a business coach right now, but, well, in a way I do. I actually do have a business coach. So I have a business coach, personal trainer, and an accountant, and obviously lots of other people
Yeah.
that assist me. But I love vocal coach because, number one, yes, you are communicating to, one-on-one or in front of groups. When you're at the level you're at, you get invited to speak in front of, you're very sought
Hmm.
after. So lots of people want to hear the Cindy Rainey story. And, speaking in front of people is not the same as one-on-one, and it can be quite scary. And also, but I love that you're willing to do it. You're willing to do the hard stuff. And
Yeah.
it's, speaking in public, speaking on this podcast, it's not easy. I don't think it's easy. And
Hmm.
I've done it for a long time. So maybe it sounds natural to me, but I don't believe that it's easy to keep somebody's attention for 45 minutes. And yet I have to do that every single episode or do my best. And so having a coach is critical, I think. And it's so easy to forget as a non high end producer that
Hmm.
getting a coach now is just as important as Cindy. It's easy to say, well, Cindy's a huge producer; she can afford to have all of these coaches in her life. Well, maybe, but every athlete has a coach, and every athlete,
Yeah.
professional athlete, has coaches their entire history before they ever made a dollar. So, the importance of coaching, I love that you're into that. What has
Yeah.
your coach helped you to do, or coaches?
Well, I was just gonna say, I remember the day that I said to my husband Jason, like, "Hey, this is probably going back 5 or 6 years." I said, I think I want to do coaching," and I felt like it was kind of hokey. I was like, oh, I was like almost embarrassed to be like, "Hey, I think I want to do this," and at that point, I think it was like $750 a month, and I know it's. I said, I know it's a huge investment, but I want to try it, and we've grown so much from that day, and my coaches have grown. So you don't stay with the same coach. Like you grow, you get the next level of coach, and it progresses from there. But you don't need to be making a ton of money to start investing in your business. I mean, I think for people that want to grow their business, that is the number one place to start. You should hire an assistant to help you do the things that you're not good at or that you don't like to do, and spend time on like meeting people, being out there, the things that you are really good at. um, and you should just invest in yourself early on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I have an assistant doing. So a lot of us again are thinking, I can't afford an assistant. Well, I have an assistant who lives in another part of the world. She's been with me for years.
Hmm.
She's a lot less expensive than perhaps somebody would charge me here in the United States, but I can afford what I can afford, and as a result, so just today, this is kind of funny. So I don't practice real estate myself. I recruit realtors, so it's kind of
Hmm.
similar in a sense. I'm reaching out to people trying to see if they'd have interest in joining our firm. Well, one of the things I realized was, and again, if anyone who's listening in our local market, I apologize for pulling the curtain back on this, but just to show you what somebody can do, is I have an entire list of people I'm trying to prospect or that I'd like to eventually become an agent at our firm, and they're at other firms right now. And so what we're doing is we're tracking all of their production, and whenever they do something cool, or do something important, we call it a superlative, something impressive. Even
Hmm.
if it's just impressive to us, we're sending them an email or I'm calling. And so what my assistant does, and it's just 1 hour a day. I only pay her for 1 hour a day of this. She finds 20 of these opportunities, like, hey, this person just listed as crazy new listing. We should congratulate them and say, hey, we're watching you. Like, this is really cool. Like, good luck.
Hmm.
And all of these ways to let people know that we care about them and that we're paying attention. And she just loads up 20 emails. She writes them all herself, just a couple sentences each. And then I go through at the end of the day, I review each one to make sure it sounds like my voice and I can make changes. And she's been with me for years, so she knows my voice. And it would be just work I would be doing anyway. And I have to review it and approve it and I send it out. And it really does come from me. She just starts it. And
Yeah.
it's like the best money I can possibly spend because I can't spend that time coming up with 20 different reasons to reach out to these agents because it's just too much time to go through. So I
It's so
love that
smart.
you,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a great way to have her use her, time, and it's great that you can do that.
And by the way, if
Everybody
anyone out
should.
there who has a team and is looking to build a team, use the strategy I just mentioned. Because if you want to poach somebody from a different team, or if you just want to add to your team, look for those agents that you want and start following them and paying attention to what they do on the MLS and elsewhere. And I assure you that probably their own managing broker isn't calling them to congratulate them on all their sales.
That's a great idea. It's true. It's a great idea.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of phone calls from because you're your own thing.
Yeah.
People probably just let Cindy do her own thing, leave her alone. But
Yeah, once in a
it is
while,
nice to
but
get.
no.
Yeah.
It's nice to have someone say, "Hey, I noticed you just put up that great listing on." People love praise. They love to know that you're, noticing them. I think that's really smart. I think I'm going to do that when we start our next recruiting effort.
There you go. And check out Cindy's listings too. On cindyraney.com. It's just super impressive. I think I always like to demystify a lot of times, and I do this in my own life too. I'm like, if I only had that one thing, I'd be happy, I'd be
Hmm.
successful, I'd be happy. And oftentimes that one thing seems like it's the solution to whatever problem. And maybe it is, but oftentimes it's not. And so I'm curious on everybody wants to do luxury. It's highly competitive. Obviously, the commissions are high, but there's downsides to it too. And I don't even say downsides. There's unappealing parts of working in the luxury market as well. Number one, highly competitive, obviously. Number two, you have to really know your stuff, maybe more so than a client at a lower price point that isn't being fought over as much in the
Hmm.
marketplace. Um, and number three, just having to outperform the other agents in your marketplace. So tell us, you know, so you talked about, I need to really know my data, my stats.
Hmm.
What else is really important about keeping a luxury client happy, making sure that throughout the process that what are you doing along the way to ensure that by the end of the process they're like, wow, Cindy was the
Yeah.
best.
I think the most important thing is to find out how your client wants to communicate with you, and by asking them what they want. So do you want me to communicate with you by text, email, phone call? How often do you want me to update you? Because some people might want to be updated weekly. Like for instance, my listing at Sasco Hill, they're not living here now. They live in Florida, but I still need to give him updates regularly. So it's important that I know the cadence at which he wants updates from me so that he's happy. And I think just making sure that you're really available when somebody wants to talk to you. I mean, there are so many agents. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think there are people just in general, that are not looking at email consistently or don't respond quickly. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. I think if you're in service and you're working with someone for someone, you've got to be available.
Yeah, we should also mention too. We didn't mention this, but Cindy's coach she works with the Tom Ferry coaching company. So if anyone's wondering, who does the top people use? Cindy uses Tom Ferry's company, and obviously very well respected. People probably know Tom Ferry and his father Mike Ferry.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are one of the top two of the top two coaching companies out there. I want to talk a little bit about consistency because look, you're a busy mom. You're a wife. You are a realtor. You're a team lead, and you're a producer on top of all of that.
Hmm.
How do you maintain consistency with all of the complexity of your life?
I'm really lucky that I have a team. And I think having the team and having a schedule that we try to keep to allows me to have flexibility in my life and allows me to continue. So I'm not by nature the most organized person. So I've got an assistant who sits right next to me in my office. She's not here right now, but she keeps me on task and helps me with my calendar, with emails, and things like that. We've got a full team. We've got a team of 9. We've got a marketing director. We've got several agents. We've got a social media director. And things that are really important to stay consistent with would be our monthly newsletter. It goes out monthly, no matter what it happens, and every month we put a lot of time into it. It's interesting. People love it. We really like brainstorm about what we're going to give people on the market. We give them market insights, and we don't just spit out the numbers. We really think about it. I mean, it's like Jason is actually, he's my husband, he's my business partner. And, his role on the team, other than being our visionary, he's our numbers guy. He knows everything inside and out. So we all work together to put that together. And something like video, for instance, if you're going to put yourself out there on social media, you have to be consistent because people will start to expect to see you and they will enjoy getting the information you're giving them. So consistency in anything you're doing, you've got to be, to be great, you've got to be consistent.
Yeah, let's talk about social media. So, a lot of times agents in the luxury space or people who want to get into the luxury space might think, well, maybe luxury does means I don't have to do a lot of social media because maybe it's been seen as that's more of a relationship play. And, and I don't know whether there's credence to that or not, but you are doing a lot of social media. So tell us about the kind of content that you like to consistently do on social media that really helps, personify the brand and help get people interested in you.
Yeah, I think so. What we do is we post every day, once a day on our posts, and then on stories it's a different approach. But so we have a theme. It's like Market Mondays. We talk about the market. Tips Tuesdays. So it could be something. Like right now, it would be something in our community, and we would go somewhere. Like somebody on my team would go talk about where they've been, or like if you're going to go apple picking with your kids, where you're going to
Sure.
go. It's just things people want to know. So we have a schedule throughout the week. More than happy to share the inside list with anybody. If you want to DM me, feel free. I can give you sort of our cadence. And then on the stories, we sort of just keep whatever we want to talk about, sort of like the day in the life of what's happening. So like this weekend I played paddle. We put that out on stories, just trying to think like whatever is current and whatever we're doing as a team. And, we always put our listings out there in obviously with the highest, video quality. And it's really important to continually put your listings out there. So we just have a cadence for every listing that it gets posted a certain number of times, and everybody will see it. I mean, we have with our new listing. I mean, everyone's saying, we've never seen this listing before until you took it over,
Mm.
and now we're going to sell it. It's a $12 million listing. It had been on
Ah,
before for 5 years and hadn't sold, and we've got more traffic now because we took our formula and are rolling out our social media program.
we should also mention too, getting a $12 million listing in most cases is not just throwing it up on the MLS and waiting for
Mm-mm.
the showings to come rolling in because, well, there's not many people that play in that space. Not a lot of
Mm-hmm.
buyers just going, I'm just waiting around for a $12 million property to jump on the market. So Cindy has a really tough job as a listing agent for these high end properties because she has to go find the buyers,
We
which
do.
means she's got to have great relationships with other realtors who represent buyers in that space. She's got to know where those other buyers hang out, online or even in person.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got to flood the market. So tell us a little bit about when you have a property like that that is so just so specific and really less than 1% of the population would even be able to have that property. How do you go about sort of figuring out how do we get this thing sold?
I think the most important thing that we have is a vast network, and it starts with our network at Coldwell Banker. Part of why we're here is they have a global luxury program, and that gives us amazing marketing. Plus, it also gives us global reach, and that's really important because we know where the buyers are coming from today for these properties. We've done the research, and we really hit those areas around the world by reaching out to those agents with our marketing to make sure that they know that this listing exists. Um,
This
yeah.
just to interject for a second. So we're not talking about, hey, all of the wealthy people at the country club in your local market who may be able to afford that property and just don't know it's up for sale. We're talking about people that move into the area, maybe from New York City, maybe from Florida, maybe from the West Coast, maybe who have other properties elsewhere. This is you are really having to think about exactly where your buyers come from, and like you said, it could be global.
Yeah, no, it is, and we definitely reach out to um, our contacts and make a personal phone call. I mean, I'm friends with people literally around the globe and say like, "Hey, this is a great house. If you've got someone who's looking for something of this style, you should definitely show it to them." And what's also interesting is, real estate doesn't happen in a vacuum. I mean, it's like everything we do here is really hyper local, but you also need to know what's happening globally, nationally. You've got to know what's happening in other parts of the country because buyers at this level, they own several different homes. They probably have something, in Aspen, Miami. I mean, they're homeowners in many different places. So it really helps to stay current on everything that's happening.
I love that. I wanted to switch gears just a little bit because I don't think we could ever over communicate about the importance of hard work. And I know that it's such a simple thing to say, such a hard thing to do. It's like a push up. It's like it's a really good idea
Hmm.
to do a push up. It's not a lot of fun to do a push up, but it's a really good idea to do squats, push ups. The things that kind of are a little painful. But if we want a healthy body, we probably need to do those things, or we need to do some
Hmm.
of those things. And hard work is, obviously, being a successful real estate agent, there's no shortcut to hard work that I've found. And I asked once that one of the top individual producers, actually the top team here in Chicago, but the team lead, I said, why do you think you're at the very, very top? Like, what do you think you do differently? He's like, I swear to God, he said, DJ, I swear to you, I just work harder than everyone. He's like, that's literally it. He goes, I'm not smarter. I'm not better. He's like, maybe I'm better because I've been doing it longer, but he's like, it's all because of hard work. So I'm curious. I'd love to hear your thoughts about hard work.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard. This job is hard. I mean, the people that say, "Oh, I'm going to get into real estate because the schedule is flexible and it's an easy thing to do." It is hard. It's a 24/7 job. And until you get to the point where you can surround yourself with a team, you're working all the time, all the time. So, and in the beginning, all you have to sit open houses, like do two on Saturday, two on Sunday, take desk duty every time you can get it, constantly market and put yourself out there, do mailings, all of these things until you have a name for yourself. But I mean, I work hard every day, all day now, even though we have the team, but it's a little bit easier because it's a little more organized. I just took my mom and my two girls to Paris a week and a half ago, and nobody skipped a beat. It was fine.
Yeah.
We put two listings on, and it was great because I have this super strong team behind me. I was always available, but it can run without me here in the moment, which is amazing.
Yeah, well, gosh, that's impressive. I suspect, being a mom of five and team lead and a producer as well, that you would have to know when you wake up every day. I know I have a plan for the day. And
Yeah,
can we talk about how do you set that plan? Because
yeah.
what you're accomplishing, to you maybe is like, well, this is just what I do. To everybody else, they see you as like an alien. Like, how are you able to do all of this? So I'm curious, just with the planning of the day, how do you think
Yeah.
about planning the day? Because there's so much chaos in your life, you have to have a plan.
Yes. So, I mean, a couple things. I learned a few years ago that I used to say all the time, like, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, and that was sort of my go to phrase. And I was really good at multitasking, but now, I turned 50 recently. I can't multitask as well, so I have to stay super organized. So my day is pretty much the same every day. I wake up, I make my latte downstairs. It's like first thing I have to have every morning. I spend about a half hour really getting ready for my day, checking emails, making sure I'm ready for any listing appointments, anything I have. And my 13-year-old daughter goes to school about a half hour away from us. I could put her on a bus, but like she's my last child at home and I love that time with her. So I drive her to
Sure.
school. We listen to Taylor Swift, we talk, we like get her ready for the day. And then from at once I drop her, I come right to the office and we have our team meeting, our team huddle. And then I work really from 9 to about 3. And then the rest of the day from 3 on, I'm back on like family time, fully available,
Wow.
but I'm back to, you know, picking up Cece from practice, bringing her somewhere to a tutor, and then I'll get back on the computer maybe around 7.
Yeah, and then are you how much sleep do you get? Because sleep has
Oh,
got to be a luxury for you.
no, I can tell you exactly how much because I've been wearing my Apple Watch literally every day since I got back from Paris. I'm a little obsessed with my amount of sleep right now. I've been getting like 8.5 hours of sleep, and I now need to like do a deeper dive because there's like core sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep,
Sure.
and I need to figure out what it all means. But I'm like last night I got 7.5 hours, but I still feel okay. But my average is like 8.5 hours of sleep, which I think is pretty good.
That's more than a little bit good. That is
Yeah,
crazy. But again, it requires for you to even to get eight
yeah,
and a half hours of sleep or 7.5 hours.
yeah.
It requires a ton of organization. It requires a discipline
Yeah.
of I need to go to bed at this time. I need to wake up at this time. Obviously, as a mom, you have to wake up and you have responsibilities for the
Yes.
family. And but I love too that at 3 o'clock every day, there's a time from 3 to 7. It's mom time. It's family time. I'm here. I'm present. And then I can do my work in the evening. Should I have any? And then I get to go to bed at a wow. You maybe have the most balanced life I've ever heard of from a producer of your level.
It hasn't been this way always. And I'm really lucky because I work with my husband and like we have different offices. So we're not in the same place. We do different things. We stay in our lane. I learned what that meant early on when we started working together. But it has not always been this way. I
Sure.
missed countless soccer games. I mean, when I was in my 30s, late 30s, like I didn't even see my kids on the
Yeah.
weekends, So, I
Yeah.
mean, I put the time in and, I think it was important for my kids to see that I did that and they are
Right.
really respect hard work. I've got a child who he's turning 21. He's going to graduate in 3 years from Babson College and
Wow.
he's going to grad school. I mean, he's such a hard worker. Like they're all such hard workers. I'm so proud of all of them. Um, yeah, it's right now being a mom. It is being a mom and being part of a family. That's like my why. That's why I do everything that I do. So I make sure that I make that a priority as well as obviously taking care of my clients. And then thirdly, giving back to our community because we can and it's really important to me.
Yeah, so let's talk about giving back. So, why is giving back important and what does that mean to you?
I think that by giving back to other people, I mean, it makes you feel good. First of all, that when you can help other people, and there are so many people. We're in a community that's right next to a town that people are they do not have everything that they need, and the fact that we can help people in so many different ways, it means the world. I mean, there's so many different ways you can help today. But I have a child who had struggled with anxiety and depression for a little bit. And I know that there are people that don't have resources. So part of what we're doing, we work with Bridgeport Hospital. We have just been able to give a tremendous amount of money through a committee that I'm on, through a board that I'm on, to help handle situations when kids come in, those teenagers
Mm,
who are just anxious or depressed so that they're not
yeah.
put with the adults. I mean, there's so many different causes out there, but that is something that's like near and dear to me. And
Yeah.
I just want to be able to help as much as I can.
Yeah, I think about right now teen girls in particular with social media, it's gotta be brutal. I can't imagine seeing perfection in images. It's seeing things that they're not, so none of it's real, but it looks real. And it looks like, oh, I don't look like that, or I don't have that life, or I don't have that thing,
Yeah.
or I don't have that friend group, or I didn't get to go to that party and look at all the pictures. And that would have leveled me as a kid. I know we're getting off track, but
No, but it's
social,
so true. I know. It's
oh,
so true. I am so glad that I did not have that growing
oh,
up
me
because,
too.
oh my God, it would be horrible.
It would have ruined me to know on Monday that I didn't get invited to a party. I would know. I would hear about it on Monday. Oh, I didn't get invited to
But it
that
wasn't
party.
in your
Oh,
face. It
it
wasn't
wasn't.
in,
It
it
wasn't in my
wasn't,
feed. I
yeah,
didn't see
yeah,
the pictures of every. So
I
so yeah.
know.
Let's have a lot of compassion and empathy for those teens, boys and girls that are
Yeah,
dealing with. I hope in the next few generations, there'll be a rejection of some of that stuff. Maybe we can use social media more effectively. And but
yeah.
anyway, um, I also want to talk a little bit about where you struggle, because every successful person, nobody's perfect. Everyone's got problems. I have problems. You have problems. And certainly not looking to do a deep dive into all of your problems, but
Hmm.
just so that people know you're human, what is one part of your business that isn't as perfect as you would like it to be?
Gosh, I think that something that we have struggled with and what we're working toward is real processes for things. And so every time I feel like we have a process for something, we have to always like continue to come back to it because we have a team, and if we're not on top of everything exactly the way it needs to be, so we need to know like who's ordering the sign, who's putting the listing in, who's doing this. And it's an evolution of making sure everybody's working the way they need to. And I think the other struggle is sometimes if I'm the final word on something, I can be the person holding up a project.
Sure.
And I realize that. And I need to make sure that I'm giving enough of my time to projects that might be really important to my marketing manager. I mean, they're, working really hard, and I don't want to be the person holding them up.
Yeah, I love that. Just more organization, it sounds like, and more. It's
Mm-hmm.
constant refinement, right? And
Yes.
balance is impossible. So it's more about getting as close to balanced
Yeah.
as you
No,
can. Because as soon as
there's no work life balance. There's no work
yeah,
life balance. There's no, I mean, you're in it and you just do the best you can.
one last question. Let's say, and I know you are constantly, you have a big team, you constantly have clients. Clients you probably always are dealing with clients. But let's just say you had a time where you didn't have any listings or buyers in a particular day. What might you do that day? Would it be any different from any other day, or what would you do? Because there's lots of people out there right now that maybe don't have clients, and I'm just curious, would that change your day at all, or would it be just nope, put my head down and keep doing the same stuff?
I mean, look, I'm a worrier by nature. So if I don't have a lot in the pipeline, I am always working toward keeping the pipeline going. So I would say if you didn't have something today, you just literally go back to your database. More clients come from your existing database. I wouldn't go out and try to find new people. I would go back to your database. There's some crazy statistic that something like 80% of the people that bought during COVID are not happy in their home. Like, start there. Call
Wow.
Start calling people that bought a house during COVID and tell them, like, look, a lot of people rushed into a purchase. You're not crazy if you don't love your house. Uh,
Maybe they overpaid.
yeah, maybe but that's a great place to start. Also, uh, I always just go to my phone and I start calling A to Z. So I know where I've left off, and you just pick up the phone and you actually make a phone call, not a text, not an email. Say, hi, how are you? Talk to them about something. Right now, interest rates, I mean, they're up a little bit more than they were a couple weeks ago, but we called all of our clients that bought a house
Finally,
within the
if
last two
interest
years,
rates are
and
reasonable again.
yes,
Yeah.
some of these people saved anywhere from like, twenty to $40,000 a year just by refinancing in that quick moment that they could. So, we're an open book. Like if anybody ever wants to get ideas from us, please DM me through Instagram, and we will get back to you with video ideas. We've got our social media ideas, some of our processes. Oh, the one thing I will say is that I've surrounded myself with amazing people, and I've mastermind groups. I didn't invent all of this. I learned a lot from so many other people, and I'm happy to, spread what I've learned from other people and share it. So,
Well,
open
Cindy,
book.
what a great place to wrap up. CindyRaney.com is where you can learn about all things Cindy. Again, please check out her website. Notice how clean and crisp and pretty it is aesthetically. Look at the aesthetics of it.
Luxury
And
presence is amazing. They're great.
Luxury Presence is the web builder for that. They are great. And also, I want you to follow Cindy on Instagram because she is super consistent with her social media, and it's been very successful for her. So it's Cindy Rainey, and it's Raney and team. Cindy Rainey and team on Instagram. We'll have a link in the show notes. And Cindy, one last question for you: if you were a brand new agent starting today, still knowing everything you know, or let's just say a different way, you you had to move to another state in a place where you didn't know anybody and you had to start over, what would you do day one if we plucked you out and threw you in the middle of Iowa, for example?
Okay. I would, first of all, learn everything I could about the market. I would just study the market. I would go out, I would see all of the inventory. So become the expert day one. Take hours, just drive around, learn everything you can. And I would probably join a team of some sort day
Mhm.
one, to align myself with other experts. And I think by doing that, I think you can very quickly start getting listings. And from there, it all trickles down. Listings are really the key to driving business
Sure.
in today's market. So it's possible. And making sure you're on social media as the expert.
And I'm going to add tack on because I know Cindy would say this. Open houses, especially if you have a team.
Absolutely.
If you join a team,
Absolutely.
beg, borrow, or steal. Get those open houses, even if it's not your listing. Beg them, please, please, please. Let me do
Yes.
open houses.
But be
And
the expert at the open house. Make sure you
yes,
know every single thing about that house. Somebody can't say like, "Oh, does it have this kind of heating?" You have to like know exactly and know it like it's your own home.
I love that. Know it like it's your own home. Know the story of the home too. Is there a
It's
story that
all
goes along?
yeah. That's how we sell, I think, so many homes. There's an emotional piece to every listing, and you're telling the story of the house and why it's so great. You're making an emotional connection with the house, with the buyer, and that's really been such a key for us.
Well, Cindy, thank you so much. I want to have everybody again follow Cindy on Instagram, Cindy Rainey and team. CindyRainey.com is where you can learn about all things Cindy. And she is so generous. She says DM her with questions, ask her for some of the, the processes they use, maybe some templates. Cindy is such a sweet, nice person, and she's willing to pay it forward because people helped her when she started as well. On behalf of our audience, thank you, Cindy. Again, you don't have time for this, and
It was
you made
such a
time for it.
pleasure.
So,
Thank you. I'm so happy to
oh,
be here today. Thank
I
you.
I am so happy you were here as well. And on behalf of Cindy and myself, we want to thank the audience. By the way, if you have clients that move in and out of New York, Connecticut, Cindy's would love to chat with them because that is her market. So she's in Fairfield County, but she works other places in Connecticut too. So please reach out to her. She's with Coldwell Banker and obviously a top 1% producer. And she would love to talk to you if you have people moving in and out. And she has people that move out of her area as well. So she's going to need those connections as well. So
Absolutely.
reach out to her, tell her that you appreciated her being on the show. But on behalf of Cindy and myself, we say thank you to our listeners. We love you. We appreciate you. You're the reason
Thank
we do
you.
this show. We've done it for 6 or 7 years now, and it's all because of the audience. So thank you, thank you. So thank you to Cindy. Thank you to the audience. Please, everybody, tell another friend about this episode. Tell another agent that is maybe struggling right now, and they can hear Cindy's story. Maybe that will inspire them to get back on track. And also, please leave us a review, subscribe, and let us know what you think of the show. We read every review, and it helps us to get better and better. So, thank you, Cindy, and we will see everybody on the next episode.
Thank you.